No nonsense gin drinking. All gin and a surprising amount of nonsense.
Hello gin lovers, welcome back. I'm Bobby Freeman. Today, my friends, we have another requested video from my viewers and subscribers, because one of the, probably the most common question I get asked doing the show is, what is your favourite gin? And to be honest, it's impossible. It's just impossible to have a favourite gin. There are so many really good ones out there. I just can never do it. So what I do is I have a cluster, a tightly formed cluster of, how many were there? 5. I've got them down there. A tight sort of quivering, gyrating, sort of throbbing cluster. This is getting rather unpleasant. But you get what I mean. A group of 5 gins, which I find to be the best, but I could not possibly put one above the other, because it, as I say, it's just an impossible task. It's I don't know, there's probably a word for it. Like, I think if I was to actually decide that one was better than the other, it would like tear the fabric of space and time. So I don't want to risk that, because, you know, I'm not that kind of guy. I don't want to do that to you. So I'm going to present them to you today in no particular order, okay? This is not a top 5 or anything. It's not a countdown. This is just my group of favourite gins, which all of them could be considered my favourite, presented to you in no particular order. You're welcome. So here we go, my friends. Kicking us off in no particular order, it is the good old Tanqueray 10. Now, this one has been a staple go-to gin for me for many years now, and it's very special, and I shall tell you why. It's because this one was the first one I heard of anyway. I don't know if the actual first, I think it was the first one I'd heard of that used fresh citrus fruits as part of the process when they're making it, rather than those sort of dehydrated, dry kind of citrus fruits that almost the majority of the other gins use. This used the fresh ones, which is why it is a little bit more expensive. In fact, some countries, my viewers have told me it's a lot more expensive, but I tell you what, it makes for an extraordinary gin. It gives such a depth of flavour and kind of lushness about it, and it just works wonderful in everything, you know, with the gin and tonic obviously, but also if you're ever making a cocktail, my word, this really gives you a good base for a cocktail. It just works so well for all those reasons I just mentioned, and that's why I wanted to bring it up today, and that's why it is on my list of my little tightly knit cluster of favourite gins. Next on the list is this one, my friends. You might remember I reviewed this maybe about 3 years ago, I think. This is number 3 gin. Now, it looks rather unassuming from the outside, but don't let that fool you, my friends, because it is in fact a very simple gin. Most of these gins are very simple, really, but I think it only had, was it 6 botanicals? Let me check. Well, I can't seem to find it, but I'm pretty sure it was only a very few amount, like 6, but it actually has 3 main sort of aspects to it, and that is juniper, citrus, and spice. And they use these 3 in wonderful conjunction. I always talk about the best gins are the simplest, but you could be simple, but with the limited amount of botanicals there, you've got to be extremely careful with them, because just to get them singing in perfect harmony, and these guys absolutely nailed it. It's a wonderful, simple, yet kind of the flavours kind of resonate in a way that just work extremely well. And that's my friend. Also, this key is a replica of the one that apparently opens, I believe it was the parlour in the distillery where they made it. Don't be going along to the parlour and trying to use that key. I'm pretty sure it's not an exact replica. Anyway, it's a bit of a interesting story for you. You could be the judge whether it actually is interesting or not, but I thought it was. Anyway, I digress. My point is, this was a simple but wonderful gin, and well worth a place in my cluster of favourites. Next up, of course, many of my regular viewers will not be surprised to see this one on here. This, my friends, is James Gin London Drizzle. Now, this one, I've banged on about this for a long time now. It was my number 1 gin of last year in my top 10 gins, and it changed the way, forgive my regular viewers, you will have heard this all before, but just for the guys that haven't seen this before, it changed the way I drank gin. What they tried to do, they tried to create that sense of, on a sort of a hot day when there's not been any rain for a while, when the rain starts to fall for a first time in a long time, you get that kind of smell. Now, it does have a name, but I never bother saying it, because no one really knows what it means. It's just a waste of your time and mine. If you really want to know, just look it up, that sort of rainy, sort of warm rain on hot asphalt smell. But basically, they tried to recreate that, and I thought that's That's crazy. Who wants that? Why do we even need that? Turned out we did need it. Because as I say, it made me, and not only did it work, they'd stepped into the realms of kind of, you know, craziness and weirdness and incongruity, if you like. That's a good word. And not only did the gamble pay off, it just worked and just flew because it changed the way I enjoyed gin. I didn't realise it was almost like this was how gin was supposed to taste, and it just. And for that reason, that's why it was, you know, for all those reasons combined, that's why it was number one in my gin of last year, and that's why it's most definitely in very, very comfortable company in my cluster of favourite gins. So here we go, guys. Again, my regular viewers will not be surprised to see this one on here. This, my friends, this beautiful, gorgeous looking specimen is Highclere Castle Gin. Now, if you're not familiar with with Highclere Castle itself, you probably will be familiar with its alter ego, its name in the movies and TV series, which is of course Downton Abbey. It's actually in real life called Highclere Castle, and they don't think they made it, but a very, very clever fellow called Adam von Gutkin, which is one of the best names ever. I sometimes wish my name was Adam von Gutkin. I think my life would have been, you know, so much better. But anyway, my point is, Adam came along and he created this gin using the botanicals grown in the Highclere estate, of which I have visited actually. I can confirm it is a very, very, very beautiful estate. And they include and I'm quoting here, a delicate balance of juniper, lime flower, orange peel, and a touch of lavender. And I've said before, lavender is a very, very strong botanical, but used very, very sparingly. It can add a depth and a flavour that just works absolutely beautiful. Quite a few gins have done that now. But another thing about this one was set it apart. This was my number one of the year before, I think, the year before the James Gin one. And it was also, had this kind of silky, smooth, gorgeous sort of quality as it glided down the throat. And it just kind of it was like it was just, I don't know, like sort of something really smooth. And it really kind of blew me away. It was my go-to gin for a long, long time. Well, it still kind of is one of my go-to gins, to be honest, except I've drunk it also. But as soon as I get some more, it'll be the go-to gin again. They also do, have I still got it? Have I still got that bottle, or has Marissa made me throw it out? Probably. They did a barrel-aged one as well. So basically this, but it sat in a whiskey barrel for a length of time. So it took on, obviously, this sort of essence of not only the slightly sort of residue of whiskey that was in the barrel, but also kind of the barreliness as well. And it soaked in. It was a beautiful golden colour. And it's supposed to be enjoyed neat or on the rocks, I believe. But I'm not really a neater on the rocks gin drinker, so I tried it, you know, with the gin and tonic, like how I like gin. Now, some people would say maybe that was sacrilege, I don't know, but for me, oh my God, it was so nice. I enjoyed it so much. I had to ration myself because it was quite expensive. It was well over 100 quid, I think. But it was wonderful. It's a limited edition as well. I don't even know if you can get it anymore. So if you do see one, get the chance. But either way, this the point is, this one here is really wonderful. Forget, you know, if you're thinking it's a sort of a novelty product being associated with Highclere Castle and Downton Abbey, forget that, my friends. This is truly special, and that's why it's in my cluster of favourites. So last up, but certainly by no means least, this, my friend, was very recently featured on the channel, actually. This is called the Gardener Gin. Now look, very, very unassuming, look, very, very subtle, not much going on the outside, not very flamboyant. However, my friends, this is one of the best gins I have ever tried. It's made in France by, well, I'll tell you who it's by. It's by a man called Tom Nicol and the Perrin family, or the Famille de Perrin, I think that's how you say it. And some actor guy I've never heard of before called Brad Pitt. So as you can probably tell, this is quite a gathering of minds here, because go back a couple of steps to Tom Nicol. Tom is only the master distiller from Tanqueray, who was responsible for Tanqueray 10. So there are a lot of similarities between this one and the Tanqueray 10, which we talked about earlier. Mostly that it uses that combination of fresh citrus fruits rather than the dried ones. Now, I was thinking, oh wow, is it just going to be like another Tanqueray 10, just in a slightly, you know, different bottle? But oh my goodness, no, as they say in France. Actually, no, wouldn't it be no? I don't know. Let's not get bogged down in languages. It's not my strong point, as you know. But my point is, yes, it shares similarities. It shares a few aspects of it, but I think somehow it's like a sort of a tweaked and sort of new improved version of the Tanqueray 10. No, that's not right, because it's not a version of the Tanqueray, it is a whole new gin. But what I'm saying is, it's natural to draw a comparison between the two, but this kind of stands alone on its own and is slightly better. They're all brilliant, these cluster of gins, as I say, but I think this one possibly is slightly sort of just infinitesimally no, actually quite a bit better than the Tanqueray 10. But it's just kind of subtly put out there, you know, just sort of delicately placed a card on the sort of the table of gin and just sort of let people find it, which I absolutely love. And that makes it just adds to sort of the specialness of this gin. And this really is a wonderful one. And honestly, really truly deserved a place in my little cluster of favourites. So guys, whoever it was that suggested this video, there's quite a few of you out there. I hope this was kind of what you wanted. So if you're looking for a sort of a, you know, perhaps if you're new to gin, you're looking to sort of go right in at the deep end and getting a nice little collection of what I would consider to be the best ones out there. Don't forget, it's just my humble opinion. You might disagree. You may well disagree, but for what it's worth, these are what I think. If you get these ones, I mean, they're not particularly cheap, but honestly, if you gather these together, it's like a holy trinity. No, trinity means three, doesn't it? What's five version of trinity? Okay, I've just asked Google and apparently there isn't one. Anyway, look, at the end of the video, let's not get bogged down in Latin or Greek or whatever it is. The point is, these little fellows, my friends, you will, I'll go out on a limb. If you like gin, you should have these on your shelf. If you've never experienced gin, or if you're new to gin, get these and you'll be well on your way to being a connoisseur, according to me. And as always, guys, if you've enjoyed this video, if you've taken anything away from it, if you've appreciated my waxing lyrical of my favourite gins, don't forget to show your appreciation by subscribing to my humble little channel here if you haven't already, pressing the like button on the video, or if you want to support the show just to keep me going so I don't starve, head over to the Patreon page to become a patron, or click the join button below this video to become a YouTube member. But until next time, guys, you all know the drill. Take care. Stay safe. Thank you to all my patrons and members, and of course, keep drinking the gin.